Okay. This meeting of the Eastham Board of Library Trustees will be video recorded and broadcast over local access channel 18 and through the town website at www.eastham-ma.gov. I call this meeting to order at 4:00 p.m. today. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of August 20th as distributed?
I make a motion that the minutes of August 20th be approved.
Do you have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second. Any discussion, questions, or comments on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We have Karen MacDonald, the Assistant Director for Adult Services Librarian, with us this morning to talk about the programming and work that she does for our library. So Karen, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, I just had this flashback this morning. I was getting nervous, but then I thought about how nervous I was first time I did this. And Norma was in the audience, and I was blabbering on, and she's like, she was a teacher. She knows when she's lost her audience.
Do we look scary, Karen?
But I didn't know you guys too well. Yeah. All right, so I got real casual. Because all the other employees kept raising the bar for these things, doing these Broadway productions. So I'm going to be real low tech. And tell you about some of the stuff that's been going on here. So, of course, we were talking about the dancers. We were talking about the Native American dancers. There's going to be a new, maybe a new group of dancers coming in. But these, the Red Hawks came the year before last, and they came last year, and we're going to have them back another time. So that, in June, we're going to try to have them in June so that the people that didn't get to see them the other 2 years. And November is Native American month, so we're going to show this movie that most, Mashpee, Wampanoag, and what like this movie a lot. It's more like it's set in the 70s, but these young people growing up on a reservation and stuff. It's important to see that traditional Indian arts and what's going on today are not the same, so come to that. We had a display. We've had a couple of displays, which I loved, and there are more out there. So that'll be something that we'll probably do. We just have to space it out. Our book clubs are just really taking up. I put them in the Cape Cod Times, and I might be sorry because not everyone will have a chance to talk, but it'll be great. So we have that on third Thursday of the month, and we have a book club, and the people in the club, we come together and we decide what books, as a group. So everybody read something this summer, they're going to bring it up, and then we'll kind of, make sure Clams has enough copies and do that. And that's kind of what we do also in our short story group, which is every Wednesday.
How many people do you have coming to?
We like 6 to 12 coming to the book group, but now it's getting bigger. Short story group. So that one is starting this Wednesday at 2:00. And again, it's kind of come 1 week, come all the weeks. And we decide amongst ourselves. The people who started this short story group had one at Four Seas, and they just loved it. So they said, hey, we should have one here. Now they are thinking of putting together a film discussion series. And so it gives us the chance to teach everybody how to use, Hoopla and things like that. We had, I sort of turned into the field trip person. We went to the windmill, and now that Mr. Owens is gone, the person who's been doing it, I had never met him, Jerry Boucher, and so he took us on a little tour, and we had a few people, and it was a lovely night. And then at the end, he said, does anybody else want to get involved more in this kind of thing? And a few people in the group said, yeah, because he has so much stuff from Mr. Owens, so much stuff. So he and his group that they're going to form, or one person called me back, are going to sort it somehow. And then I'm looking into how we might digitize it, get it somewhere so that, it's sitting there all over the place.
So it's all in the windmill?
A lot of it is in the windmill. A lot of it is in Jerry's house. We don't even know he doesn't even know what he has. But I know before he passed, I had said to him, oh, you made this picture, can we use it? And he's, yeah, use anything, so I know he would be pleased to see the things get used, and they will.
So all of Jim's stuff didn't go to his family to do something with, all of his.
Look into that, but I don't think he had a family really. He's good.
I have a nephew.
Yeah.
What did you say,
He
Willow?
had a nephew.
Yeah, I thought he had somebody, yeah.
Anyway, I mean, the windmill related stuff will
Mhm.
come here.
I'm just wondering if some of it should be here.
I think, yeah, once they sort it out.
Shouldn't it be here? Shouldn't it be here?
I think that's what's
Yeah.
sort of being discussed.
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that we might-
yeah. I mean, this to me seems to be the place that it should be held.
Next Thursday, accordion guy and violin man will be here. And it's a Thursday night concert, which we don't usually have, but it'll work out. Try to make it here. If you haven't seen these two, accordion man is
They're
a
great.
riot.
Mhm.
Usually have them every year for the winter music,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So this is winter music. This actually is the encore series, which we had, the winter music is, we're trying to get some new faces in here, new bands. And then we had the encore series where we got old favorites to come in so he qualified for that. We have put up online the winter music series application. If you know anybody with a band or someone with a guitar, there's an online application that they can fill out. And in November, we have a really great little team of people who like, patrons who know a lot about music, and we get together, we listen to it all, we
Mhm.
make our judgments by December. It'll start in February.
And how many?
We'll have 5 of the winter music with the new people, and then 5 in the spring with the encore people.
So you're planning on 10
Put it all
programs,
together.
10
yes.
programs
Yeah,
altogether, starting in February.
Several years ago, we'd be, scared of snow and whatnot. So now we have it
Yeah.
every other week. So we have some wiggle room for snow dates.
Mhm. Is that going to be on a Saturday?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Saturdays at 1.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
Okay, these guys are walking up and down Fort Hill. There's a man, the Mycological Society of Cape Cod. He's like head of the mushroom man, and he comes and just walks us around behind. Oh no, this isn't Fort Hill. This is like the
bike visitor center bike trail. That's Button Bush Trail, I think.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. So this is going on October 5th. What we have set up upstairs is a sign-up sheet. If you are in the library, you're kind of somebody who comes in the library, you have a little extra time to sign up, and then we'll put it online and other people will sign up, because otherwise it would be, it'd be signed up today from people all over the place. And, we just want to treat our special people.
Well, didn't you even have to have a waiting list last year for the mushroom?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there were so many people that wanted to come.
It's a popular thing. So as far as more field trips, travel training, we partnered with the CCTRA, the Regional Transit Authority, and the man came in and we got a pretty good turnout too. We were kind of involved with the COIs of that. And he taught us ask for advice and things people want, taught us what they do have. And then he took us for a little ride, and it was really lovely. And now the COA is going to do a couple more. So we've been partnering with them more. There's a new person there, Harriet, who is going to, her training is like virtual things, part online and part in person. And so we're going to work on that, see what we can come up with. We've just met each other. But in January, we're going to start an author series, and we're still discussing which authors we'll collaborate with.
Can I just make a comment or ask a question about the Cape Cod Rail folk?
Yeah.
Because last year I asked about the 2 bus shelters that they said they were going to build, and they said they had the money for them. And one of them was to be in front of the Superette, and one was to be up the street near the Sheraton, and they're not built, and they're not, I haven't seen anything about them. And
well, I'm going to pass out, somebody else brought that up when we had that little meeting.
Yeah.
Somebody brought that up also.
so they said they had the money. I think there's maybe an issue with the land. But
I'll look into it.
I
Maybe we can reach out to the RTA directly.
yeah.
Okay, so the windmill was very, when we had programs, we used to have these things. And if you had some hearing problems, you could put this on, you have like a little transmitter here. And they were great. Mary and Debbie used to stand in the back and say, would you like to try this assistive hearing device? And people would, and it was great. Then they started having feedback, and then they weren't listening to the transmitter in Devin's office. They weren't talking together well. So he had the people who manufactured them come in, and they took a look at it. I think they're going to work again, so we can do that again. But also, he discovered that there are some new Bluetooth ones that work with your hearing aid, and so they're looking into that in the COA. Again, we may, piggyback on that with them. But if you guys want to.
Well, it's also the same thing, since we built the building and got those, there's been new technology with your iPhones.
Yeah.
And your hearing aid, so a lot
Yeah,
of times people can adjust it, they don't even need that.
Through,
They
through,
can
through,
adjust
through their
it
iPhones.
right with their iPhone.
And Devin's
Mhm.
looking into that,
So,
so,
yeah.
Distance, mushroom, chewy. We had this during COVID. We came up with this cooking show online, and Elaine Lipton is a very good chef in multicultural meals. So it's all online. If you haven't seen it yet, the Chewy Decimal Cooking Show. We have Indian food, Chinese food, Japanese food. I don't know, we call it Jewish food. It's the
Kosher.
yeah, the matzo ball soup she made. Anyway, so the Devin is now working on that. We have footage from the Chinese cooking, and probably February or so we'll have a watch party, and we'll watch the freshly edited film and try some of the food, and that was a popular one also.
So that's coming back?
Yeah. The last time it was the Japanese food. It was great. We do things like mushroom walks, and we had Marcus
Hendrick from the Wampanoag.
Yes, and he took us around Fort Hill and showed us like the pre-1700 history that's there, and kind of gave us a whole new perspective on, the things that were there. It was great.
Yeah.
So we'll have him again. And we've also had in that area, we've had Phil Kyle, who's a birder, and he takes us on a bird walk too. So I think we really are using the resources around here. And just what happened. Okay, oh, I'm almost done. Okay, AI. Okay, so I went to a conference in Ohio, and I learned a lot about a lot of things going on in libraries today. And one that really hit me was AI, artificial intelligence, because I realized I really don't know anything about it except for Alexa. You talk to her, she figures out what you're saying and gives you an answer artificially. So anyway, so they're the beginning of the thing, they pass out pictures of people and said which ones are real and which ones are AI.
Yeah.
And it was eye-opening. It was, kind of made you feel a little bit scared, maybe that, that a person could look so real. So anyway, so I've been learning a little about that. The Massachusetts library system has a consultant who has this monthly AI chat, I guess she calls it, community AI chat. And she tells us what's going on, some laws that are being discussed, how you can be safe, and also some of the advantages that we can look forward to, like identifying diseases. That will be a scare. I'm sure it won't put doctors out of business, but Oprah recently did a special, and I think if you want to learn about AI, it's a good place to begin. It was like a week ago. If you just Google Oprah AI, you'll get a number of things, I'm sure. So I think I would suggest that rather than me trying to tell you what little I know, but I will know more. I'm going to see maybe if this woman will probably do a Zoom with us, and I will invite you guys to, that we can ask questions and whatnot. She's a real expert. Everybody from the state, learns from her. So that would be great.
I'd love to.
All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, let me know. The evil algorithm.
Thank you.
I got scared. It sounded like algebra, and all right, one more thing. Yeah, I don't have Norman here to shut me up. So, what is coming up? Okay, we have the music series I mentioned. Selection. Oh, an improv series. We're gonna have a guy come in, and we'll have a I think it's like 5 weeks, and he will teach us improv acting, which we've never done before, and we've been trying to do it. So it's going to be really fun. I think Julie knows the man, says we're going to enjoy it. The Nauset Ringers, okay, and at the holidays, they suggested the Federated Church has a group of people who play the bells. They play songs with bells, and it was very popular and very beautiful. And they played, Christmas music, and the director talked about the music and what it meant and where it was from. And then one of our patrons read A Child's Christmas in Wales, and he also had a lot of educational and entertaining stuff to say about that. So that was really fun, and we're going to do it again. That's right. And I think that's it for me, and if anyone has questions.
Just curious if you have an idea of when Marcus Hendricks might be doing, would that be spring-ish?
I would hope spring,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Talked to him recently.
Yeah.
Yes, Mary.
So I know Fran has in the past always put something out showing what's going on for the summer as far as programs are
Mhm.
concerned. Are you putting some sort of information out about the programs for the winter that people could take home and say, okay, on this night I want to go to this, and on this night I want to make sure I'm going to that, or
Usually we tell them to find it online, on our website. We also have a lot of, these things at the front of the desk, and I've noticed they've been taking pictures of them, the ones that they're interested in. But yeah, I hadn't thought of that, though. Maybe on the other side of Fran's summer reading calendar, we could do some adult.
because I have the one that she put out for the summer, and I move it along depending upon what I want to see and the weeks and so forth. I just think that would be helpful. I mean, I know when I was doing my greeter stuff, I passed stuff out as far as the programs for the summer was concerned, and a lot of people felt that was helpful. So
Okay. Yeah, we definitely do it for the winter music series.
yeah, a little brochure
Bookmark
type
type
of
thing,
bookmark
yeah.
or something like that. Yeah.
I think in the past have gotten away from putting out, printed materials because we add so many programs so frequently. The summer programming schedule tends to be set kind of ahead of time.
Mhm.
But Karen's not the only one who does, adult programs too. So that's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
other thing too, is it so she prints out the winter music series, and we have things about like the Any Book Club and stuff like that. So it's more like as individual events come out, we try and pass things out that way rather than a full calendar that would be
Mhm.
a little more difficult to maintain. But yeah.
Yeah,
When she brought
but
that up, was
I
thinking,
do think
since they're
the
doing
music
it
one was
anyway,
helpful.
Since Fran's doing it anyway, maybe we can kind of
Yeah.
partner on that.
Yeah.
We'll think about it.
Yeah.
Talk to Brian.
I know that the music series on Saturdays is very, very well attended. It has been for a number of years now. And I've spoken to the trustees before about trying to provide perhaps some sort of transportation to some folks that can't come because they don't drive or they have disabilities of one kind or another. And I keep pushing at this issue. I'd really like to think about a way what we might be able to use. They just got a grant for transportation of the Council on Aging. Use if somehow be able to provide transportation for the older folks that don't want to drive in the winter, that can't drive, for the music series
Absolutely.
that we have. I'm not sure how to do it, but
I'll talk to Dorothy.
really something that I think people would, especially in the winter when people don't go out as much and they're at home alone, many people.
Absolutely.
I just like to look into that more. If you had more money, is there anything that you would like to have that you don't feel you have enough money for? A program or something of that nature?
I'll have to think about that. Like the thing we usually need, that I usually wish I had, was space. And I've been looking into other people's, LCTV now has a bigger space, and I guess the high school has a great space to look at. And so I've been looking into space more than money, but I will think about it and get back to you, trustees.
Yeah, okay. Okay. And do you ever ask the attendees at all these various programs, which are terrific, any type of survey to see whether there are other things that they would like that we're not doing?
We did that one year, and we could do it again. I don't, every now and then the state wants to see our surveys, and so I'm sure we'll do it again. But Fran has this big whiteboard in the front, in the front of the library, and sometimes she'll put, "What would you like to see?" What program? And people have been, people go right to it now, and so we have gotten some ideas back.
Okay, good.
So you got the improv idea, right? That's
Yeah.
for that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the mushroom.
Yeah.
So.
That's it for me.
Hey, does anybody else have any questions? I just like to thank you. A wonderful
Thanks, Karen.
presentation.
Thank you, Karen.
Very informative. Thank you.
Yeah, for all you do.
Yes.
right.
Okay.
Thanks for your time.
That's a lot.
Yeah, right.
That's not even mentioning the rest of the stuff.
Your day-to-day stuff.
Yeah, the regular stuff, yeah.
Checking out books.
Yeah.
Okay, we don't have a member of the public with us today. We do have Olivia, our student ambassador. Did you have anything you'd like to share today?
So now that I'm in the new school, is something that you're still interested in, like getting pictures of that and putting it up on the website, like on the inside?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking I could do that, and also like sort of write more things about it because there's stuff like that are actually really cool. Like I'm in a biotech class, and so one of the new things that we were able to or like through the new school they were able to purchase is like a negative 40-degree like freezer to store things. So there's and like we also have a gym that's going to be open for students to go to. That's like almost like on par with like Nauset Fit. Like it's really nice.
Oh, cool.
So
Wow.
I was thinking, yeah, if I could like get more information, and then there's also teachers I don't have that I'm sure like have cool things.
Yeah.
So I could definitely like write up something about it or.
I think that would be good because I think there are a lot of people in the community who would be curious about what's going on with the high school and the renovations and what's available. And if they had a place to access it easily, I think that would be advantageous and it would build support for the school community
definitely.
as well. Because again, with all the retirees in town, people who don't have children in the schools, we want to make their access to what's going on in the schools as easy as possible. That's why I was really excited when you mentioned that there would be like an opening event at the Performing Arts Center.
Yeah, I just heard yeah, I'm not sure just because I don't know if it's open to the public yet. I don't I'm not in the band, but the NHS advisor was saying that they were trying to do a welcome thing.
Yeah.
So like I'm not really sure, but I think they will be trying to do something where like the public can come in also.
Sure.
Yeah, so is there any like stuff that I would like people would be interested that I should include like specifically about the school?
I think generally they sort of, how's it coming along? Where are they? I know they're in different phases. There was something in the newspaper recently. Phase one is sort of drawing to a completion and they're beginning on another. So just, maybe an update, possibly some pictures of spaces that have been renovated or newly created spaces. I just think that, again, if people have children in the school, I know when we had our kids in school, we sort of knew everything that was going on because we were involved. We were there a lot.
Yeah.
Whereas now, they're sort of the supporters of the school, but they don't really have a sense of what's going on because they're just not there.
Yeah.
So that would be anything like that would be nice. Anything to help people understand what's going on would be nice.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
I think your idea is good, like a 2 or 3 really interesting things that you might not expect to see at a school that is different, and sets us apart.
Definitely.
I think that would pique some people's interest.
I think even this is something we had in the past, but then we're starting to get going again. Like the yoga teacher was telling me, the zip lines in the backfields, they're trying to get going again. Yeah, I know. I never got to do it, and they're finally getting it started again my senior year.
That was one of the best things.
So yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be like soon enough, but it's really
outdoor
fun.
adventure.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, any of that kind of thing.
Okay, yeah, and then I could also if it would be like good to have an update on the building. I know there's like our janitor who or like the head guy is like involved in that, and there's also someone that people call like Bob the Builder that like knows that's like sort of like the in between. So I could like try to see if I could talk to one of them too.
Good.
Yeah, and get an update on it.
That sounds good.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other suggestions, questions?
Is there any space there, bulletin board wise, at the school, to promote any of the fun things that we're having here at the library?
Yeah, so there is a bulletin board outside of our fake library, but it's sort of in a corner.
The fake library.
It's sort of in like the corner of the school, but also I was thinking, so my friend does an internship where she is making a social media for the school to post what's going on and like sort of interesting things. So I was thinking I could if there's any programs that like.
Well, because there's
wanna be
3
promoted, I can do
October
it through
programs
there.
that,
Yeah.
that Corey has done, that the flyers are upstairs. That I would, after the meeting, I'd be more than happy to make you copies and you could just see if
Sure.
there's a place.
Oh, yeah,
Because-
there definitely is a spot.
Okay, because, you know, like, I think one of them is a cool author thing, and they're all like fantasy and just
Yeah.
fun October creepy Halloweeny kind of things that
Mhm.
I can see that they definitely might attract some of the older kids.
Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah. That's good.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I can take
Great.
those too. Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you very much.
Mhm.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay. Deb,
All righty,
friends.
as most everyone knows, we our windmill weekend, Andre, we won a grand prize again.
No way.
Yeah, way. We tied with Siemens Bank, which was great because theirs was phenomenal. And we really thought after the parade was over, we're going, they won. So there was actually a big surprise that we tied with them. The list is long of people who worked on the float and walked in the parade. I mean, we had 16 walkers, and which was really great. It was 16 books I had to make, which was a lot. But Roger Dumas from our board, I mean, that was his concept. He created the characters, which, you know, if anybody, hopefully you've all seen them, they're temporary residents now in the windows upstairs in the lobby.
Perfect
I
location.
know they were, and Fran has all the stars, so she's gonna be able to hang them in the window. He
Mhm.
gave her a whole roll of that fishing line to hang them at different lengths and stuff. So, yeah, so that was great. It was really a lot of fun. Believe it or not, Turnip Fest is coming and Mary Ann will be at our October meeting to give us the update on the plans so that we can start lining up people. New events this year, there's gonna be a Wampanoag craft table with a couple people from the tribe. They're going to be, people can make corn husk dolls and also wampum pendant making. Which we learned from when Darius was here last year. It's hard. It's a lot of work. It's why a lot of people go for the drill rather than doing the thing by hand. But that ought to be another craft thing for all ages, actually. It's not just a kid thing. And also we are probably going to be successful lining up the Wampanoag Nation singers and dancers. Marianne's trying to figure out a way to adjust the schedule in the Turner room to get them in there in the afternoon. So that would be great. They've been making a lot of appearances around the Cape this year. They were Saturday alone, they were at the Orleans Farmers Market in the morning and the Cranberry Festival in the afternoon. They're different. They have a kind of a different take on it than Red Hawk, which will continue to have again next year. Halloween on the Green is coming again, 4th year in a row. 3 to 5 in the afternoon, we'll need volunteers to staff the library friends table and hand out books and candy. And that's something that started because of COVID. And it's just every year it gets a little bigger and every year more people participate. And Thomas won a first prize last year for his costume, which included, I don't know what the character was from one of those creepy books, but it included having a mouse on each shoulder. So I'll leave it there. And other than that, let's see. Oh, we beat our record from the last 2 years as far as book sales and merchandise for July and August. We took in more than 1,500 in books and CDs and more than $3,500 in merchandise this summer.
Wow.
I know, it really is. And as far as the books go, it's difficult keeping good books on the shelf. We'll get like a big donation and then 3 days later, it's like, what happened to those books? So it's all good. It's all good. We tend to get a little possessive about, oh no, what happened to those books I just put up there? But other than that, we had a very successful summer. And our next meeting is October 3rd.
Okay. Any questions?
Is the Turnip Festival and like a Halloween on the Green? So you said volunteers?
Yeah.
Because I'm an NHS and so
Okay.
like everybody needs volunteer hours, so that's something I could ask for volunteers.
Well, I'll tell you, especially for the Turnip Fest, Mary Ann has always, I will give her your name.
Yeah, she would love that.
Because there's so many different venues going
Yeah,
on.
right.
There's music at the chapel. There's all kinds of stuff here.
The
where
out stuff
they always
outside?
Need,
Yeah, stuff outside?
Hmm?
There's stuff outside?
well, yeah.
Are you
they-
having stuff in the, well, I don't know if you're
Right,
doing that.
yeah, they have the kids bowling and stuff
Right,
like that,
right,
the tournament
yeah.
bowling outside, which,
Yeah.
Actually, there's always been a couple of kids from the high school that help Kate Berg every year.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, I'll give her your info. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's also many things inside.
Mhm.
We move stuff all around the
Yeah.
library up
Mhm.
there
Yeah, there's the like
to,
tattoos and the all
Yeah.
kinds of
Yeah.
stuff.
Face painting.
yeah, face
Yeah.
painting and all that. That's great.
Yeah.
What day is Halloween on the Green this year? Is it the 26th? The Saturday before Halloween? Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Excellent.
Okay, well, Melanie, we're up to you.
All right. Okay. The ARIS report I last month noted to you all that has been completed. The second portion of those two annual reports is the financial report and state aid application, and that's due on October 4th. I think it's Friday, day after the next Friends meeting. I attended a training on that today to make sure I have a good reminder of everything that we need to go into that report. And I'll be getting Al's signature to send that in before that due date. Programs and services. Judy does the majority of our adult book ordering, at least for physical books. And we do our express book program, those first come, first serve books. We do that with a leasing program through Baker and Taylor. And the cost of books has gone up and our contract has kind of stayed the same. So it's not given us the same kind of bang for our buck that it has previously. And we're looking into a new model to continue to provide that express book collection. The Friends will continue to fund that, but we're probably going to move away from that specific leasing program and just buy books sort of outright that will be designated as express. And then once we don't want those sort of hot titles anymore, once we no longer need those duplicates, then they'll go to the Friends book sale so that they can be sold to then generate money back for the library. Right now, the model is that we essentially pay to rent the books for the high demand time, and then we send them back and we can get new books. So we pay a sort of flat fee to pick and choose hot titles throughout the year, every year. But it's just not, we're not getting discounts on books really anymore. So we're having to pay basically the normal price for a book to go into these express collections. So we're just looking to get them per discount that we would get for our other books, designate them as express, and then the Friends will help us by selling them on the book sale and on generating the money back for the library.
So would that process be, if you feel cheaper than what the process that you're following now?
Yeah, I can explain more to you about it if you're curious about the nuance of it. It is kind of interesting, but I don't think it needs to be addressed right here in the meeting. But yeah, this will go further. Because the Friends have always sponsored this express program, so this will allow those funds to go further. We're happy about that. September is a lot of different themed months, but one of the things that we're focusing on right now is it is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month. Marianne has put up a display with materials from the Suicide Prevention Coalition. Right now it's up by the hold shelf upstairs if you'd like to take a look at that. Anyone is welcome to take anything from there. There's stickers and information cards, things like that. Marianne is working on a collaborative program with a couple other libraries. She's representing our library on this collaborative program called Grief Literacy 101. And right now, the libraries that are kind of active in this collaboration are us, the Hyannis Public Library, and the Brewster Ladies Library. And I would just like to note that Marianne is the only non-director who is like representing this program. So kudos to Marianne for always being at the forefront of these things. And what they're looking to do is create this program that's going to kind of go around to all the different libraries on Cape Cod, and they're looking to even provide like a parenting pack like the one that we have on grief literacy to different libraries so that they have these collections to circulate to the public. So this will be kind of a collaborative thing where they're making presentations to the libraries and giving materials and also providing some takeaway resources so that libraries have kind of ready bits of information for to share with their community members. So that's a pretty cool initiative. And it's always really interesting to see what we can do when libraries collaborate together to kind of expand things more widely. September is also Library Card Sign Up Month, and Corey has been doing a social media campaign. I didn't check to see if he had done it yet, but he's going to be posting another Library of Things video as kind of another way to interest folks in different things that our library provides in hopes of inspiring people who might not already have library cards to get them. And I guess that's actually something that maybe you could mention at NHS too, is that September's library card sign up month, or, you know, if anybody doesn't have a library card, anyone is welcome to get one. Yeah, so that's some highlights of some things that we're doing for current programs and services, but please do check out the library calendar. We have lots of other cool things going on. This is not an exhaustive list. Some professional development updates. We had Family Search, some representatives from Family Search. They had spent all summer at the Sturgis Public Library doing a lot of digitization of their genealogical materials. Lots of different genealogical organizations based in Utah will go around and help digitize materials from libraries, because it's part of the mission for the Mormon Church to do the family research. So they have a lot of funding to support these initiatives of going around the country to digitize genealogical materials and make them accessible to larger groups. So they had been in contact with Sturgis, had worked with Sturgis, and they have a contact at the Cape Cod Genealogical Society who said, you've got a lot of gems here on the Cape. You should really check out some of these other libraries and see what might be worthwhile. So they stopped at Provincetown here and the Eldridge Library in Chatham, all of us being kind of big hubs for some genealogical materials. And they do think that there are some interesting things here that haven't been digitized yet. So we're working on kind of creating a list for them. This would be free to digitize. They would do all the work for us, and then we would have free access to the materials. So it's kind of a no-brainer if they deem that it's, you know, worthwhile for them to put the effort in there. So we're looking to see if we can get some of that kind of included in this. The shame is it doesn't really apply to things like, for instance, the Jim Owens collection, because it's not genealogically focused. That's local history focused, but still worthwhile to see what we might be able to get digitized online without having to put in our staff effort. So that's pretty
Would
cool.
they be coming here to look at, see what we have?
Yes, they would be coming here. They would be, they explained to me their process, which is they've really got it down to a science. They like set up a site in the area, and then they take materials from here, digitize it, and over the course of 3 days, they finish everything they need to do, bring that stuff back, get the new stuff, and kind of go that way until they finish their process. So I thought that was really cool. It was like, it's really interesting. You just get to go around and do all the, you know, see all the materials. That's very cool. So that was nice to meet with them and hear about their process and everything. And Corey's going to be helping me make a list for that as well. I mentioned, I think last month, that as the current president of the CLAMS Board of Library Directors, Eileen Chandler, who is the executive director of CLAMS, asked if I would be interested in being on the Small Libraries in Network Grant Review Committee. They accepted both of us to the review committee. So our first meeting is going to be next Wednesday, the 25th at 2 p.m. We'll be getting some background on this, you know, grant, what's worked well in the past, what hasn't worked well. And ultimately our goal is to see, does the criteria need to be changed for who is eligible to receive the Small Libraries and Network grant? Pretty much the main criteria right now is population size. So they're just looking to see, are there other factors that they should be considering? For your context, Eastham Library is one of the libraries on CLAMS that receives this grant every year. It supplements our annual fees to the network. Okay, next things next. Some of my most important updates coming up. We have a very important staff update. I'm really sad to announce, I mean, I guess, you know, glad for her. Fran McLaughlin, our beloved youth services librarian, is retiring after 15 years of service as the youth services librarian, but that does not include her stints as a staff librarian and as a cataloger previously. So she has truly been, you know, an institution to our library, and I'm really very sad to be talking about her retirement. I don't think I included it in here. My apologies there. Her last day is going to be December 31st of this year. So she gave us lots of notice to build up our stats. I did. Okay. Yep. Thank you. Yeah, she is a stellar programmer, a fabulous collection development librarian. I feel that I've learned a lot from her, and I feel I wouldn't have been able to kind of go into this director role without, you know, supportive and incredible staff members like Fran. So I'm really grateful for everything she's contributed to the library and all the ways that she's supported me in my work, and hopefully she feels the same back my way as well. So yeah, we will miss her greatly, but we're all wishing her the absolute best as she enjoys her retirement in her next phase. Okay. a little bit of a bummer for Fran's retirement. Hopefully you all had a chance to take a look at some of the information I provided. Our piano, our Steinway piano is requiring some extensive maintenance repairs to ensure that we can continue to use it for concerts going forward. I'm not going to get into it. Hopefully you all had a chance to kind of look at it, but basically this is something that I really recommend that we, go forward with. It is you can see from the quote that, the repairs are extensive and require kind of an additional layer of repair that might not be needed now, but would definitely be needed later, need to be done later. So Jim is requesting that everything kind of be done in bulk right now to sort of ensure that we have a good 100 years of life out of the piano in the future. And you can see in here, my request was just because of the nature of this piece, because it is, sort of a staple piece of equipment in the library, but also something that is used for programming. I floated the idea to Debbie Abbott, and I believe she feels the Friends would be receptive, but I think that this is a cost that might be split between the trustees and the Friends if they were so willing. I don't know if that's a decision we want to make today or discuss further, but if the trustees are comfortable with that, we could also make a motion to vote on that today.
Yeah, as I looked through this, I mean, the price seems reasonable given what a new piano or a new used piano would cost. And if it's a new used piano, there would likely be some things that would need to be done anyway. Let me float this. I see this under the heading of furniture, equipment, LBIFI funds. Yeah, so I see the potential here for that. And I personally would be supportive of doing it. As a board, do we want to discuss it further today? You mentioned the motion. We could do that.
I have two comments, concerns, observations. One, is there perhaps some of these people you've mentioned that have played it? Is there somebody who actually plays a piano that we could just run this by, if somebody recently played it, did they notice some of these issues or?
I mean, we were informed by the piano tuner that it was having problems.
And then it passed to this
and then
gentleman.
He recommended that we reach out to this guy, and he has confirmed that this is like
the issues.
It's not holding pitch.
And then I noticed this gentleman the work is actually being done by this Aardvark piano company that I looked up their website, which they do sell refurbished Steinways. They don't have one currently for sale, but they had two old ones that they had sold for $33,000, which I just thought was an interesting reference. So my other thought was we probably don't have a lot of other options, but should we also think of getting like a second pricing on it? Is that,
I am with you.
Is that part of our financial obligations?
Right. We should get 2 more quotes.
That we have to at least get another quote on it.
Yeah, I agree completely.
I agree too. I don't know if there's 3 in the area, but at least 1 and preferably 2. I think it's our due diligence, especially at the price.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I would think that probably, I don't know what the town cutoffs are for you have to, go to bid or get.
Well, we're not obligated to do that because of it would be trustees and friends money. So I can definitely look into that. The other thing that we should just consider is Jim is one of, the prominent piano repair folks in the area. And so I can definitely reach out to others as well, but we're going to start delaying the repair on this. And given that we don't actually know what the time frame would be to get the repairs done, and we're looking at Karen's music series in the winter, we're going to start bumping up against not being able to do the programs that we're looking to do. So I will look into this right away and see how many quotes I can get quickly.
Did this say that it would be back
That's
in a
that-
certain time? Because I looked through the
there's nothing
pictures.
in here that says the time.
I looked through the pictures on Aardvark of what they have to do, and it's like, I don't think they're gonna get it back to us in 2 months. I mean, the whole
Yeah,
thing was like taking a,
yeah, I guess I sort of assumed without really knowing a lot about it that if this work had to be done, we'd
Mhm.
probably have to secure a temporary piano to
Okay.
continue with programming, which would be a cost
Mhm.
if we had to rent or lease a piano while this was being repaired, because I too didn't find anything that indicated how
There's nothing
long it would
about
take.
time. No, there's
And
nothing in
I know
here.
nothing about this, so
Well,
I
I
can't
don't even
begin
know
to
that they
guess.
could
Yeah.
guarantee a time because, you know, just as everything that we've
Mhm.
been experiencing, it's not just about the labor and the taking it apart, but the part
Supplies and-
exactly was the thing that
yeah,
I
and
was
it's
thinking
off
of too.
Cape.
Right.
So why
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
we, let's see if we can get a couple of other quotes. I
Okay.
don't know how many piano tuners there are on the Cape, but I'm sure there, must be at least couple, maybe.
Well,
at
we
least
can't be the
three.
only people that have a
Right,
piano.
that's right. So there must
Well, the
be,
person who fixed it will have to be off, is obviously gonna be off the Cape.
yeah.
So I guess,
And, yeah, so let's get some quotes and possibly just in anticipation, as you're poking around in that area, see what the viability of renting a piano in the event that this
That-
one is out of service for a
And it
while.
can't be used
So
during the
that we're not
winter.
gonna get to, make a decision on the repair
Mhm.
and then have to say, well, let's wait a minute, how long are we gonna be without it? And then we have to start looking at that point.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we
let's
should do
maybe
it
do those,
at the same
yeah,
time, at the same time.
yeah.
and
Melanie, I
obviously
think if
Karen
you
knows.
call Elaine Lipton, she can put you in touch with, because of the chamber music.
Yeah.
Put you in touch with maybe another piano tuner, but also a place to rent one, because they rent a Steinway every year for the.
Oh,
Cape Cod
okay,
Chamber
okay,
Music.
okay.
Yeah. And I think just reading the discussion that I think the board is certainly supportive of doing this, but we need some additional information in
Mhm.
terms of the dollar amounts
Mhm.
and the availability of a temporary piano.
And the time for it to be
So,
done,
and,
perhaps.
and then hopefully in the next meeting or so, we can make do a motion and approve it. Yeah. Any other discussion on the piano? Okay.
I just have a question on one of the other aspects of her report. It's back to the suicide prevention, and you mentioned that they're going to be making presentations at all libraries on the Cape. Do we know what that entails?
What do you mean?
Well, you have on here, sharing kindness will make presentations at all libraries on the Cape and Islands accompanied by collaborators. What do we know what those presentations are, or what that it consists of, or?
Yeah, Sharing Kindness will make presentations in all the Cape libraries accompanied by library collaborators in which we will define grief and grieving,
Yeah.
examine how grief can appear at different developmental ages, look at the impact of grief on mental health and wellness, discuss grief myths, and provide takeaway resources. So that's what the presentations will consist of.
Do we know when they're going to be, or?
No, not yet.
Oh, and would it be just one presentation, or would it be over a period of time, or?
I'm not actually sure about that.
Mm.
More information coming from
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
Okay. Were there any other questions or comments? And seeing none. I think motion. Okay, motion was for the minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess we're up to old business. And I guess the first one on the list there is the community donation box policy. Okay. And that's on page 15 in the packet if you're looking for it.
Yeah. I thought it looked good with those changes.
Okay. Anybody else have any?
I think in the, let me see. In the second paragraph, community drive or donation bins, shouldn't it be plural bins?
Mm-hmm.
A point of contact with the donation.
Or at the discretion.
Well, kind of like each one is singular though.
Yeah.
If it should be
But
drives and bins or
is.
drive and bin.
Either is, but she said are, so that's for like.
Yeah, I can make that change.
Sure. Looks
Just
good.
clarify.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think on that, you want a motion? So the motion is printed in the packet to approve the community donation box policy and application to host a donation box at the library with the suggested edits. Okay, do we have a motion? Joanna?
I'll second it.
Sarah? Additional discussion?
Who seconded it? I said, oh, Sarah?
Sarah. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Okay. Any update on Memorial Fund consolidation?
No real active updates, just I have been in communication with the treasurer and she'll be working on getting us more information about the memorial accounts over the winter.
Okay, and then the next item there, C, was the work session for the Terrapin sculpture proposal. That's on October 4th at 4 p.m. So that's more in the way of an announcement.
October 8th
What
at
did I
4
say?
p.m.
Yeah, 8.
Oh, 8th, that's what it says. 8th at 4 p.m.
Who is coming to that? You, obviously, the trustees.
Yes.
Is that,
Debbie Abbott is
Are you gonna
coming.
come?
It's gonna be her birthday.
Oh, stop.
oh, great.
We'll give you a little Terrapin for your birthday.
Oh, thank you.
And Sheila Gary will be in attendance as well. She's the sort of lead coordinator
great.
for the gardening volunteers. It will be a public session, so if any members of the public, are interested in attending that, they can be there as well. But I had not invited any other folks specifically to talk at that.
Great.
Um,
And the staff knows about it, so you know their feeling.
yes, yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Great.
Okay. And I'm wondering, should we put an agenda together for that meeting?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because otherwise it's just gonna be sort of open.
Yeah, I'm hoping to talk with you and Sarah more closely about it. I have kind of some ideas for how to kind of structure the meeting with some guiding questions and some sort of specific activities so that we have kind of a visual of pros and cons and things like that. Kind of a list of a series of questions so we know really what we're working to decide and we don't get, sort of in the wider scope of things because this project really ties into a lot of other projects and ideas about the library's future. So we just want to make sure that the meeting itself, we work to achieve the specific action, which is to decide how we want to deal with this specific donation offer and where we might want to put it if we do accept it.
Okay, so essentially then we're just announcing that the
Yeah.
meeting is going to be on the 8th at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
And we'll get together and do an agenda
Yeah.
for it.
That has to be, that has to be posted?
The October
Yeah.
8th meeting?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's because if anyone
all
from
of
the
us.
public wants to,
Yeah.
we're all going to be
Mhm.
here, so it'll need to be posted. Okay. New business. Okay, I think again, this is going to be more in the area of announcement, the annual thank you to staff. We basically, through consensus, gone around and put that off until the winter. When, anyone have any ideas when we should pick it back up again for discussion? So
I
that,
was gonna back up and say, maybe I forced something artificially on this. I thought this would be a grand idea and fun, but it may not be that. And so I don't think we necessarily have to make this happen if we're forcing something to happen. You know what I mean? It's sometimes we force things to happen that nobody's really thrilled about, but they're going along because everybody else is going along. And so I just think we should be careful not to do that.
you're saying possibly reverting in
To
the
something-
past what we've done when
Right.
we've done the annual gift
Which we
to
did,
the staff. We've had some refreshments and
Mhm.
stuff and just sort
which
of.
we did. I
Yeah,
mean, we had that.
Yeah.
And maybe these people work long hours, they
Yeah.
work hard. They may not want to add an evening event to their work life.
Now, in the past, when we've done this, but back many years ago when I was involved here, we had what I would call a breakfast.
Mhm.
And we would have it we had it in the library.
Mhm.
And we would, different members of the trustees would bring different food items.
That's what we had this year.
Yeah, I'm just saying and that was our thank you to the staff.
Yep.
It was held in the library. What was the old building at the time.
Yep.
And
Hi,
I
Sarah.
don't know, some people might not always be here with the staff, but that's true for
In
in evening hours. It's even difficult, even more to me.
Yeah, in the evening would be
It's
more
people
difficult.
have spouses, people are involved with meetings, people are, especially in the winter time, to be out at night.
Anyone else have thoughts on it? Because what I'm hearing so far from the comments is that it might make sense to revert to that, to when we do the, presentation of a gift appreciation to the staff, to have like a breakfast or something
More of a
in-house
meal than just
and not bring everybody out for an additional
Mhm.
activity. So if there's consensus around that,
How do you feel about it, Melanie?
I think that makes sense. I think it's kind of easier for staff to kind of get on board with. I think it just sort of acknowledges their, because especially as we're working to kind of expand things, it's different than it was a few years ago. We're open 6 days a week, and so staff are sort of spread out and how they're doing things. And so there are a few staff who are cobbling things together, and I have certain feelings about a staff member maybe wanting to take off a shift of work to attend this thank you shift at this, so that can create some complication as well.
I think we're forcing, I just felt we were forcing something that I thought was a good idea
Well, I think there's lots of things that people think are fun in theory, and then when it comes to doing it, there's a lot of other pressure. Yeah,
exactly.
so
Yeah.
I'd also say that I don't expect people to come when it's not their work day, and we still are gracious, and we want to honor them.
I don't think people, I think it's like they want to, and it's sort of, you know what I mean? It's the double,
no bad feelings in my mind.
I always make that clear that there's not thank you. Yeah.
So then on our unofficial calendar, that it shows that we would have preparation discussion for the trustees. Thank you to staff in September. That would happen in August. So we would have a discussion in August. We prep for the thank you to staff. And then in September, there would be the trustee staff social thank you presentation of an annual gift. Is that the way?
Didn't we used to do it in April?
Well,
I thought,
traditionally we did it in the spring.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought.
In the spring, we have National Librarian Day.
That makes more sense to me.
So we maybe move this, if we're aiming for doing it in April, maybe move the discussion part to March and then actually do it in April. Does that make sense?
I think we need to discuss it earlier than that, maybe January even.
Okay.
Yeah, it takes at least a couple months to
get
it all together.
Okay,
But I think the April time is a good time frame to have it.
I agree.
And we've got to go back from there.
Yep.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll adjust that on the calendar. And what I think I will do, since I now have a couple of changes on this, I haven't been publishing it every time I make a little change, but I think what I'll probably do is put this out with the current update. The changes will be highlighted so that you can see what changes there are from the last time we talked about it. And that doesn't mean if you look at it and you see something and say, oh, shouldn't we change this too? We can do that. So this is just an ongoing fluid document to help us keep track of what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I'll do those. Good. Okay. The next one is designate staff and trustee liaisons to coordinate. I put a question mark on that. I wasn't quite sure what that meant.
that was?
That was, if we were still going to be doing a potluck in the winter, I was thinking that it might be helpful to have a staff member who is not me, like,
Yeah.
survey the group. But since it sounds like we're not doing that.
We
then
don't have
that's
to
sort
do
of-
that. That was
Okay,
done.
yeah.
Okay, good. We are up to the financial report, and we can start with the FY 25 operating budget, which is on page 16 if you're looking for it.
So for the financial report last month, Mary had asked me to double check the salaries because the number that I had pulled from Munis was not the same number as the warrant number. It must have been my error. They are correct in Munis, and I've updated the spreadsheet now, so that should be all set. And then we just have the rest of our operating budget expenses so far this year. Does anyone have any questions about that?
No, I just want to thank you for looking over the Munis report again, because I think when I was here last time, people were a little annoyed with me. And so I'm glad that you were able to see with the Munis report that the numbers equate to the warrant, and we're in sync with everything. So I thank you very much for your work.
You're welcome. Any other questions on that? Okay, all right. So then,
I want to make a comment though. It's just, while I always have a tendency, I want to move an agenda along and I want to sort of get to closure and stuff like that. It's just ingrained, what can I say? But I really appreciate your looking into things. I mean, you've looked into things in the past where there was some serious discrepancies. And the answer we kept getting was, it's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. And I think, you're an asset to the library and to the community, because all we have to do is pick up some of the local newspapers and see some of the financial messes that they're in, because no one is asking the hard questions. And sometimes it's difficult when there are questions and then there's a follow-up, et cetera, et cetera. But as much as I like to move things along, that's necessary and it's appropriate. And I would encourage you to keep doing it.
No, thank you.
Okay.
I think just a comment that I think as a result of being so involved for so long now with the finance committee in town, that I see things a little bit differently than other people on the board here, just because they're not as involved as I am with financial stuff in town. And so I'm looking at things perhaps a little bit more directly than maybe other people might, as a result of my involvement and your everybody else's involvement. But I appreciate your comments.
Okay, we are on to the FY 25 materials budget, which is on the next page.
okay, so this is just our current spending status. Any questions on any of those lines?
I have a question on the hotspots, which I think is fantastic. But you said in your report that the Friends bought 11 more.
Yes, I have to update that.
And so should the hotspots show 25?
Yep, I have to update that.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And moving right along, if there are any other questions? Okay, on the financial commitments, which is on the next page.
Any questions on the financial commitments for this year?
No, but it looks like with the piano we made. We're going to be a little more than 2,600, no matter how you look at it.
Okay, yeah, and we'll cross that bridge and we'll just.
But we have an available balance of 35, so it's not like we're in a disastrous shape.
Okay, and then the next item that goes for a couple of pages would be the memorial accounts and restrictions.
This is just informational
Yeah.
because it's an ongoing conversation.
Yes.
So I figured I can, continue to loop it in there so folks can see.
Okay. And then E is the memorial gifts. So we're gonna have to act on those gifts, Melanie, or are we just
No, this
announcing
is,
that we
just
received?
an announcement. We received a $360 donation in memory of Charles Davidson, and Willa, thank you for the thank you note for
Yes,
that.
thank you. Okay, and then there's
The painting from Doris Green.
Oh, yes.
Like that.
I just saw it.
Yes.
Is that the one we had on the card?
It's
Yeah.
similar to the card. This was in the home of a friend. I was at her house. I've known her for years and years. Anyway, I was at her house and she said, I want to show you something. I'd never noticed it before. It wasn't in a living room, it was in a den area. And her husband was very involved with the library for many years. And she said, I'd really like to give it to the library. I think I love the picture.
Who's the donor?
The donor is Susanna Gomat.
That's what I needed.
Yeah.
Susanna,
Susanna,
yes,
Goemaat.
Goe.
Maat. Yeah. And she's not the painter.
No, I know that. I know Doris.
Right. And so she said, I'd really like to give it to the library if you'd like it. And so I brought it to one of our agenda meetings to discuss it with Al and Sarah and Melanie. And so this is the painting. I don't know where it would be put or what people's thoughts are, but this is the painting that she would like to give to the library.
We have the cards to go with it.
Yep, we do.
When was it painted? Do you have an idea?
Let me see. I have the name of the painter, but I don't have a date.
Oh,
There's no date,
Oh.
but she's had it for quite a while.
yeah. I was
It's
trying to
not a brand new. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and the previous
I have the-
renovation
have the
isn't
dates.
behind it, so it must be.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is the old. This is
We'll have to add it to
the
the
old
list.
one. What
One
did
more
Deb
thing.
say? I didn't hear what she said.
I have to add it to the list for our curated collection in December.
Oh, yeah.
One more thing.
So what kind of discussion do we want to have here? Are we talking about accepting it or?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Can I, can I just say my usual thing? And my usual thing is, we aren't a museum and we don't collect art as part of our job per se. And it's often better not to own art because then you have responsibility for it for the rest of your life.
Well, you don't need to keep it.
Oh, you do?
No, you don't. I mean, we have a form. We have a form that I think we need to put together to show how we deal with
That it
things
can
that,
be sold if
Right,
we
right,
want it to be
correct.
sold.
we have discretion on how to use things that are
Yeah.
donated.
Yeah.
So, well, we could do that and then do we have to inform the donor that we sold it and what do we sell it for? Because then it becomes.
no, I don't think you need to do that. Once you take responsibility or ownership of, then you have the responsibility to do exactly what you want to do with it without bringing in
Anything.
Right. My question is, if we're going to bring in art with the idea that we're probably going to be selling it, then why are we taking it on in the first place?
Oh, I'm not saying we're deciding to
Oh.
sell it. I'm not
No.
saying that. I'm just saying anything that we have in this library here, we have the ability to sell if that's what or not use, if that's what we want to do. It's not something that we decided when we first took it that we would sell it.
Well,
Yeah.
an alternative is the long-term loans. Which is another way to do it, but with that caveat that we can dispose of it
At our
to the swap shop,
Yeah,
or the
yeah,
Council on
yeah.
Aging gift shop,
With friends,
it's not so
friends
bad.
book sale.
or the Friends book sale.
Book and.
Well, I mean,
offset.
isn't that true with, I mean, a lot of stuff, a lot of things are here now, because they were permanently loaned. And it just, the person, they didn't.
Right.
But they were just officially on loan. So,
Yeah,
and what happened to them. It's totally up to you guys.
yeah, my take on it from our recent discussions about the donation forms, once it's given to the library and we as the trustees accept it.
Mhm.
Basically, then what happens with it is at our discretion.
Correct.
And my concern with like a long-term loan is at the end of the loan period, 50 years down the road, trying to track down who made the donation.
Mm.
And if we can't track them down to notify what we're doing,
No,
then
you're not.
we get a trap as
yeah.
to what we can do with it.
This individual is 95 years old, so.
Yeah,
I mean,
I feel better about it. No, if
Hmm.
they understand that by giving it to us, it's totally within our discretion of what we.
Well, that's one of the things that I think we need to discuss. And if you go online to the library, you'll see that we have a gift acceptance policy. And on it, it says that we have a gift acceptance form, and that's something that I recollect something that was put together a long time ago, but we can't find it. I mean, I've been in touch with Melanie, and we can't find the form, but I have in my mind the language that we discussed. And there was a form related to this issue. So so neither of us can find it at this point. So I think we need to, and we have in the gift acceptance policy, a statement that says that we have a gift acceptance form.
Right.
So, and none of us can find it. So we need to put together a gift acceptance form, since we can't find, we have it in the policy itself online that we have it, but we can't find it.
Not to sound like Scrooge, but not then it may not happen, but what is our criteria for accepting things? And do we have to accept everything that is?
Of course not, no.
And but what is our criteria? Like when we have books that come in, there are textbooks,
it's up to us to decide whether we want it or not.
Well, the gift policy, I took another look because I was also trying to find that form that Marion is referring to. It's as far as art goes, it says that it does say that we're not actively collecting art, and that it would be, at the discretion of the trustees, if the art is like relevant to us. So this applies to that. So it's really, do we have the space for it? Do we want it?
That's the gift acceptance policy that's online.
From my perspective as the director, I think that the piece is beautiful. I think it does absolutely have relevance to the Eastham Library, but I walk around this building all the time, and we have so many things that I feel like don't fit in spaces. There's no flexibility for a lot of the art that we do permanently own, because we only have a few walls that are a size that can actually accommodate them. And I have an emotional, I feel bad accepting something that I don't even know where I would put it in the library. That's my feeling.
And people get upset when their
art is not
are in this first floor.
And then
that is literally the only place in the library.
And then they come and they're upset, understandably, but that's,
So I think we should have a gift acceptance policy, and if people don't want this picture, I'll give it back to the individual that gave it to me, if that's a decision I feel that we need to make.
I wonder if that, given that you have the cards, would that be a better gift to the friends?
Sure, because there's a couple places we could put it. One is right down on the wall outside the VIS room.
Okay.
So would we suggest that it be donated to the Friends?
Yeah, that's a decision that the trustees can make. Yeah.
Will that be offered to the Friends? Because we're not trying to force you to accept it. It's yours.
I think, it's a no-brainer. Yes, we'd be more than happy to accept it. And there's a wall right down at the base of the hallway, right outside the VIS room, which is what that is the outside of.
Yeah,
we did use Doris's picture,
right?
A version of that for our anniversary cards 2 years ago.
So I think, could we say then, I don't think we need to vote with through consensus, Mary, we're recommending that you go back to Susanna and suggest that the gift be made to the Friends of the Library.
Well, no, I think it can be given to the trustees, and then the trustees will give it to the Friends. Can we?
I think it would be cleaner if it was given directly to the Friends.
That's fine. I'll be happy to.
Dan and Harold were certainly longtime members.
Yes, they were members of the.
She'd probably, if you asked her, she'd probably be more than happy to.
That she'd be fine.
Right, and we can tell her where it's going to hang. Right.
That sounds really nice.
Thank you.
I think she'd like that.
I'll just tell her that.
Okay.
I'll give it to you.
Okay.
But moving forward, maybe this is something we need to.
Maybe we could.
I thought Deb had a policy somewhere that we had come up with.
We have a policy. This is just, I think, the first time that we've gone through the procedure of how do we engage with the policy, which I mean, I don't know another way other than this how we would have done it.
Yeah.
We do have to discuss it. But the policy says that, we are not actively collecting stuff, and that if we are going to accept it, it's got to have specific relevance to Eastham or the library, or,
Does it say anything about their space, like new space?
I think it does say something about that too.
It's on the website. So
And I
maybe we
will-
should put this down for on the agenda,
Mhm.
where it could to go over the policy and the fact that we need to put together a gift acceptance form since we haven't been able to.
Yeah, I'm gonna take another
Fine,
look
yeah, yeah.
and then if I can't find that, then I'll touch base with Joanna first about doing a first draft of that and then we'll bring it to
Yeah,
the.
yeah, perfect.
While we were talking, I went back and found some forms. There was communication between Dave Payer and the Board of Selectmen about gift acceptance when Elbiffy was in tune. And there's a form there. And I don't think we've ever developed a form as the trustees, but
Mm.
would you like to see that? I could send it to you just to look at it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's better to start if we have
With
to
some
start over,
language.
yeah, if we
Yeah.
have to create a new one, it's better to start from scratch.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
basically apparently way back when I must have just PDF'd a bunch of emails that were going back and forth, and it's in there. So, but it is there, and it has some of the things that we were discussing, and that might be a way to get a start on it. So I will do that, and I'll send it. I'll send it to Melanie, and I'll send you a copy, Mary. And you know, it may be relevant, it may not. So when you look at it, if it's not relevant, okay.
Thanks, Al. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary.
Yes,
I
thank you.
will, after you let me know that you told Susanna, I can't, if she's still Marion.
I know her full name, her real name is Mary Susanna Catherine. And she
when
was
she-
Mary until her husband died. Now then she decided to be Susanna.
Yes.
And she was volunteering on the CERC desk at that time. And it was one of those things where everybody was like,
Yeah.
Mary Susanna.
Okay.
I know.
Wow.
But anyways, and then after you tell me you've done it, I'll send her a note.
Yeah. I saw her today actually, and I'll see her again on Thursday.
Okay.
Okay. So I think we're good with that. And we're up to the building review checklist, which is
I think we
on
still
page.
have
The draft
yeah,
operating budget.
Oh, no, we still have the draft operating budget. Okay.
Right.
Jumped over one.
Sorry.
That should be on page 22. This is a closed search. Get back to where we are. There we go. All right, so we have the 2026 draft operating budget.
Yes.
Okay.
So hopefully you all had a chance to take a look at this. There's some sort of nominal increases from this current year to, accommodate for maintenance contracts increasing. And you can see that reflected in our repair and maintenance line. Those should all be listed out, our different maintenance fees there. Under professional and technical, you'll see our request is actually just a little bit less than last year. Our userful management software, at one point in time, we'd asked for more because we replaced some of that equipment, and that's not an every year thing that we have to do. So this year we're requesting just the fees for the software updates because we didn't have to go through and replace the equipment there. So that just takes us down a little bit. And then going through communication, we've, sorry, Al, go ahead.
I have a question. On line starting with software licenses and agreements, there's an amount there for 34,548. Oh no, okay, I'm misreading it. I saw the 29,548 below that. I was seeing that as a total, but that's a separate line. That's
Yes.
claims. Okay, good. That answered my question.
Okay, and then under communication, that's just our website hosting fee, and we haven't asked for an increase on that because we always have a little bit extra there. Under our operational and program costs, that is our unclassified materials line. That's all of the circulating library materials that we buy every year and that we have a specific requirement from the state to expend a certain amount there. So this upcoming year, we're going to be asking for $120,000 there, which is
3%.
Yeah, 3% increase from last year. And you can see from my worksheet form on the page following that this would be covering 91% of what we're required to spend on circulating materials by the state, which would leave 9% for the Friends supplement.
yeah.
And every year, Mary makes a reminder that, you know, it's important for the town to cover, you know, this full cost. And I've been working to kind of adjust what we're asking for to make sure that the town is continuing to cover more and more of this cost. But what we have is kind of a catch-22 in our formula, that if we increase what we ask for the circulating materials, we thus increase our overall budget, which thereby increases what we are required to spend for the circulating materials. So it's tough.
Like a catch-22.
It's a catch-22. So I did the work, just so that everyone can see the difference. So that we can see all the, so you can see, these are two separate documents.
Yeah.
And one represents.
Are these both for me or?
Yes, both. So these are kind of pass them down. Everybody.
Yeah.
So in the, sorry, Sarah's not here. So in the one at the bottom that says draft Friends supplement 9%, that's the same copy as what you have. And you can see that kind of in the middle of the page, our requirement of what we need to spend from the state, we need to spend $131,000 essentially on books and circulating materials. And we are asking from the town $120,000 to spend on books and circulating materials, which is that 91% covering of that full fee. If you look at the other page, which is the Friends supplement 11%, and look toward the middle of the page, if we, actually, this still shows you what I want, but there's something in here that is incorrect. But basically, if you look at the 19% of the operating budget, you can see it's $134,000. That's if we increase our ask from the town to give us $131,000, which was the previous requirement from the state. So it just shows that if we ask for more from the town on circulating materials, the Friends will actually have to supplement more of our required expenditure from the state. So that's why I went with that lower rounder number. And that still allows the Friends to cover ultimately less of what we need from the state, and is a kind of reasonable increase from our budget ask from last year, as compared to if we start to go up and up and up, it becomes a lot of money to manage. And then we have to start thinking about, do we have space for all of these materials, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why I went with the more comfortable, to me, 9% of the Friends covering our municipal expenditure requirement. Does that make sense to everybody, at least in kind of the overall scheme of things? Okay. If anyone has more specific questions or you want to get more, I'm happy to meet and explain it more fully, show you all the numbers and formulas and everything, or if you have more questions now. But I know that's kind of a lot of detail for the this conversation right now.
Sometimes you have to hear it a few times.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I want to thank you for number one. I shouldn't say this. I will say it. Number one, I just want to comment on the fact that we went last year from the prior year 96 to 116. We added 22, which was more than we have ever added in any year I've ever been involved. And so I was happy to see that. And I understand and fully agree with you that when you increase it, that increases everything else. So I think that we are on the right track, but given financial situations, I like the 3% increase this year. And so I think we're, as I say, we're moving in the right direction.
I feel the same. And hopefully the rest of the board feels the same as well.
Okay. So are there any other comments on the FY26 draft operating budget?
I just have one, and I will talk to you about it, but I just for your comments, I have different numbers for operating budget for the fiscal years, and I'm just wondering whether were those the actual operating budgets for those years, or because I have a different number for those for fiscal year 24 and fiscal year 25.
Yeah, we'll have to double check on that, Mary, because I might have used the numbers because you have to use like the higher number for how much you've spent for some formulas. So let's talk about that more. And we'll double
I don't
check
want to
that.
do it right
Yeah,
now, but
yeah.
yeah.
Thank you, because we obviously, this needs to be right, so we spend the right amount of money. So. Okay, thank you.
Okay, we are up to the building review checklist. And that's on page 24 in the packet. That's at the end of the packet.
Yeah, and a few more updates have occurred since this time. So the updates, we set our date for the work session for the outdoor on Terrapin's proposal discussion. The outdoor furniture cleaning occurred on the 12th and 13th of last week. It looks beautiful. I sent a note saying that it looks great. It looks really, really nice. So I'm really pleased about that. And the weekend was beautiful. So that was great. Premier Fence did actually complete the work on the fence this morning. So that has all been completed and this will be updated for next month. I guess I didn't have another prepared. Oh no, here it is. It's higher on my list. I have kind of a major update on the issue with the roof. So Scott, our facilities coordinator, went up on the roof and he had discovered, after kind of pulling everything off, that the original flashing that was put in did not actually cover the full area that it needed to cover. So as I understand it, it was sort of a time issue. Eventually, there was always going to be water that went over it and got leaks into our building. I'm not a roof expert, but that's the extent to which I understand it. So he said he wanted to fix it right, which required kind of taking everything off and putting the right amount of flashing back in. And it was taking him some time to get that. So the issue that we're seeing upstairs now, he had warned me about this. He said it's possible that some things might get a little worse before it gets better. So he is aware of that. We can obviously see that DPW provided some fans to dry out that area, and he's going to get replacement for the ceiling tiles. There is rain expected at the end of this week, but he's hoping early next week or very soon. He needs additional manpower to do that. So he's hoping to get one of the other DPW folks to get up on the roof with him and provide the ceiling that they need for that, so that they complete that work there. So it is in progress, but he's working to do it right, which means it's taking time instead of just kind of patching up on top of it. So that's what's going on there. And we're really appreciative of Scott for doing, his full due diligence here. He's not an expert on metal roofs. So this is all him doing all this research and figuring it out and working to do this work. And really grateful for the updates and his continual efforts there. He's also working, last I had mentioned to you folks, he was trying to get a special piece of equipment so that the leak by the kitchenette could be repaired without creating additional access into the ceiling. He looked and could not find anybody that would rent him the piece that he needed locally, I guess, because, if you go further, then it costs more, et cetera. So he did have to make another hole in the ceiling so that they can kind of do the repair the old-fashioned way. And he came in this morning and made that kind of hole in the ceiling and is hoping that work will get done pretty soon. It's not as big as I thought it was going to be, so I'm feeling better about that. Yeah, I'm happy about that. I think there was one more update that I had. Oh, I guess I just wanted to mention that we're working on with the art committee an art project, and we were reminded that there is a lot of artwork that the library owns in the attic of the library that some of us had forgotten even existed. So
some of us didn't even know we had that.
I didn't know.
I didn't know that, yeah.
Yeah, so I thought it would be good to say it out loud so that more than one person knows that there is artwork of the libraries in the attic. We're not actually sure. So we're gonna work with DPW to kind of get up in there and see if we can get some of the stuff down. And
did they see it when they were involved with the? We
asked Deb DeJonker because we were looking for something that Willow had remembered, and no one else knew what she was talking about, and I didn't know, and so
it's where the HVAC stuff is. When you get to the top of the stairs.
Oh yeah.
If you look up,
the little doors. Opening up there.
Well, it's actually a pretty good size opening.
Well, I mean, it's like a little door type thing. Yeah.
So the pen pals put some paint some stuff. Some old Shakespeare thing. I vaguely remember the Shakespeare one.
I don't remember that at all.
And there's a couple things up there, and the bronze. the sculpture.
Right.
that I've been looking for like 3 years.
Yeah,
Oh,
so now we know,
Oh,
now
well.
you all know.
Okay.
And those are my updates there, so, you know, a lot of things still in the works, but we are making progress. Yeah, any questions?
so yes, I do, because I'm really concerned that the issue, the leaking issue, that you've got the fans going on up there, that's the exact same spot that we had the other problem.
Mhm.
And you're telling me that what they found was an issue with the flashing.
Yeah,
And wouldn't was that flashing put in as a result of the work that they did a couple years ago now? It should they be responsible for fixing something that we're having a problem with now that they thought they fixed when they fixed the last time? Am I making myself clear?
yeah,
My recollection was the last time they were talking about flashing, but they were talking about having to remove part of the metal roof, which would have involved removing solar panels. And I think what they wound up doing was
They never
sealing
removed
it.
this, they
Yeah.
never removed
I
the
think they
solar
wound up
panels.
sealing it. And like with a lot of sealers, it lasts until it doesn't. And I think that's what happened here.
I think that's exactly what happened.
So,
Mm.
so hopefully if they can get the flashing in without having to remove too much, you know, if it's a manageable job, they'll do it. Otherwise, they'll have to get outside help, but the leak has to
Yeah.
be fixed.
Yeah.
Well, we
Okay.
want them to do whatever needs to be done so it
Mm.
doesn't, we don't have this problem again.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but I don't think last time that they did the flashing part, which was
Yeah.
I
discussed,
think they just
but they
refueled,
took
yeah.
a less aggressive approach to it,
mm.
if you will. And
You know, the
It's-
amount of time and money that it's for the DPW staff to do this. I'm wondering if it would have been less expensive to just hire a professional roofer to go up there and do it.
Mhm.
I mean, I know that they're not comfortable doing that because they think they can fix it, but look at the man hours that it's taken.
I know.
okay,
Mm.
I think we are up to other business, and I don't have any. Does anybody else?
I do know. No.
Looking around the table, not seeing anyone jump up. I would entertain, our next meeting is on October 15th. Trustee agenda prep meeting is 9:30 a.m. on Monday, October 7th.
And that actually, we updated that we're going to be meeting after our work session, so probably around 5 p.m. on October 8th. I think to accommodate you and Sarah had some scheduling conflicts that morning or something.
So what was that?
Yeah, say that again.
5 p.m. on Tuesday, October 8th,
Is the
trustees
Plan-
agenda prep meeting.
It's going to be after the Terrapin work session.
The work session is 4 and the agenda prep is 5.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
Chance to get that jotted down.
5 p.m. on
October.
October.
Okay.
Okay.
If there is no other business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second, have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
All right.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. We stand adjourned
All right.
at 5:31.